However, we have some breaking news because Sky in Germany are reporting that Thomas Tuchel has now left Bayern Munich. We had been reporting that his job was very much under pressure, but Bayern Munich had said that his job for now was safe. Well, that was true for a few days because according to Sky in Germany, Thomas Tuchel is on his way out now of Bayern Munich. He's lasted less than a year because he took the job at the end of March 2023. He replaced Julian Nagelsmann, who's since gone on to manage the German national team. We've got a little bit more detail here. It's Sky in Germany's Florian Plettenberg, who's very, very accurate. He says that there are good and fair discussions. The decision has been made. They're 8 points behind Bayer Leverkusen in Bundesliga after 3 straight defeats. We reported earlier this week, by the way, that Xabi Alonso is internally the preferred successor. But other names are on that list, including Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for a temporary job. But Thomas Tuchel, we are being told by Sky in Germany that Bayern Munich and Thomas Tuchel are parting ways. And in fact, sorry, this is just into us as well now. It's not immediate. They've decided this is going to be at the end of the season. This news really is breaking right now. So Sky in Germany saying Bayern Munich and Thomas Tuchel have decided to part ways, but it will be in the summer, not right now.
What do you make of the timing of this? And what has happened to Thomas Tuchel? Why hasn't this worked out here?
Well, why hasn't this worked out, Rob? It's very simple. It's results. And all you have to do is look at the league table, see where Bayern Munich are, 8 points behind Bayer Leverkusen, behind in the Champions League last 16 game, out of the German Cup. There is a very real prospect that Bayern Munich will not win a trophy this season. And, you know, if you go back to a year ago when they sacked Julian Nagelsmann, you know, they were closer to the top of the table and they were through to the Champions League quarter-finals. So, you know, Bayern Munich are quite ruthless. So for me, this is no surprise. I mean, injuries have also hit Tuchel's Bayern. You know, Serge Gnabry, Alphonso Davies, Kingsley Coman have been out for a while. And when you think about Harry Kane, he's not being goal shy, but he does benefit a lot from service out wide. We saw this in the Premier League with Son and Kulusevski and the form he had then. And then there's conceding too many goals as well. There's too much indecision at the centre of defence. Deo Upamecano, Matthias de Ligt, Kim Min-jae. They just haven't been able to get the partnerships there. So for me, no surprise. And Bayern Munich are just being ruthless.
I think the surprise here is that they are delaying this decision till the end of the season, based on what they did last season and the fact that they were so ruthless with Nagelsmann. Bear in mind the situation they bailed out of at this stage last season with Nagelsmann actually was better than what they find themselves in this time around. The fact that they're actually waiting the last couple of months to see what happens, that's potentially the surprise. It doesn't surprise me that they've decided to cut ties with Tuchel at all. Every Bayern Munich fan I speak to complains about the football that they are watching. They say it's bland, they say it's boring. And then when the results don't follow, that's when the pressure really cranks up. And what do we know about Bayern? And what have we known for the last 10 plus years, 40 plus years? The standards at this club, sky high. They are ruthless when it comes to this stuff.
After the game, he said, I don't think today's defeat was fair. I think a lot went against us today. I think we had an expected goals value of 3.4 and we had 4, 5, 6 top chances. Right now, winning the Bundesliga is not so realistic. But last season, we also hoped until the last second and it worked out. All right, well, we're going to welcome in Archie Rintut, who's been following this whole drama all the way from us, most of the time from the sidelines. But let me start with you guys here in the studio. And let me start with you as well, Ali. This was the last thing that Bayern needed today.
Absolutely the last thing they needed. And if you could picture a bad week for Bayern Munich, this is even worse. An awful week from Bayern Munich. Even in their worst nightmares, they could not have pictured such a bad week that started with the destruction by Bayer Leverkusen last weekend, losing to Lazio, and then following that up and losing at Bochum. Awful week, right? And so you're thinking, at the beginning of the game for the first 20 minutes, you're seeing a marginally better version of Bayern Munich. They seem to be in control of the game. They go up in the game. They get that second chance there for Harry Kane, in which you think, okay, this is going to be 2-0. It didn't happen. In years past, when I'm watching this game from 1,000 miles away, I would have said, it's all right. It's all right. It'll be one of the many chances they're going to get, and they're going to run away with this game regardless. When that miss happened, nowadays, given what the reality of Bayern Munich is, I was thinking, uh-oh. And if I'm thinking it, 1,000 miles away, and I'm sensing it, and I'm feeling it, you don't think the players are feeling it? You don't think they're sensing it? That they know that the margin for them right now between being in control and a total collapse is so small. It's such a fine line. It's a blurry line, actually, when you think of it. And so they know that they need all the help they can get at this point to elevate their level of confidence, and going up to nothing would have done that. They went from there to a stoppage because of the protest, and it's like somebody just said, Bayern Munich, that's it, and that's all, thanks for coming, and they didn't show up for the remaining of the first half. And then Bochum just fought. Bochum is not a team that is just going to outplay you. They can outfight you, they can outrun you, they can outwork you. That's what they try to do, and that's what they did. And they showed a desire and a sense of purpose that Bayern Munich simply doesn't have at this point. We only saw a version of Bayern Munich that looks similar to what we expect from them when they went down a man and they were desperate and they said, well, we have to go for it. We have no other choice. Bayern Munich right now, as I mentioned before, they are so far away from their level. But again, their difference between them being in control, or what we perceive to be in control of a game, and the whole roof collapsing and everything going wrong for them, it's so small. And so now they're expecting for things to go wrong. And when things go wrong, the team just breaks down. They're so fragile. This is like a boxer with a glass jaw right now. They cannot take a punch.
Yeah, talking about the mentality issues with Bayern right now, is it that Bochum looks at a team like Bayern, the run that they're in, and thinks, OK, they can be got at today, and they did it?
Well, it took them a little bit of time to figure that one out, because when they're stepping on the field, they're thinking we're playing Bayern Munich today. But as the game goes on, they start realising that this is not the Bayern Munich that we're used to playing against. And players can smell it on the field. And they just got after them. And Bayern, as Ali said, when they get punched on the nose, they don't come back. With the amount of experience, I mean, you look at that lineup, you talk about experienced players, but when the going gets tough, nobody stands up strong. They all seem to disappear. And they're all looking around to see who's going to take the lead. And nobody's taking it. And I think it's even worse. I think what's even worse is they look at the sideline and they look at a guy in Tuchel who they now, at this stage of the season, they know he has no idea what his best team is. They know. When you sit down before a game or the day before and the manager reads the team out, we all have an idea of a proper team. We know who at least 10 are. There may be a change for maybe a particular reason. When you're in this Bayern dressing room and you sit down for the team, you've got no idea who's playing. Because the changes he makes constantly, different formations, different way of playing. I mean, an absolute shambles. And Tuchel, I can't imagine how Tuchel still got a job.
The CEO says that Tuchel's sticking around, Archie, because obviously that's been the first question for so many after a third consecutive defeat.
Yes, that's what Jan Christian Dresen said. He was very reluctant to try and answer that question, but in the end said that he will be in charge for the RB Leipzig game next weekend. But the air is getting thinner and thinner for Thomas Tuchel, because the manner of that defeat today was shocking. And the fact is, I don't think Bochum had to play at their very limit. And usually it goes without saying in Germany that you have to play a perfect game if you're going to beat Bayern Munich. And I don't think Bochum really had to today. They were very good, but they weren't at their limit. And if you go through that Bayern team and you think about the amount of players who are just off form right now, Leroy Sané, who didn't start today because of a flare-up of a knee injury that he's been carrying for weeks, so said Thomas Tuchel. The fact that when he came on, everything seemed to go wrong for him. He missed a glorious chance as well. It was a fantastic